one of the biggest challenges we all get is from that family who calls us up and simply says, what's your price? Like it's literally the first question out of these families' mouths a lot of these times. And so how do we get away from that question and into our services and everything else? First tip I can give everyone is the way I used to answer that question is I would say my prices are based off of 3 factors: schedule, needs, location. Why? Because it's easy to say, it's easy for the families to understand, and I can use that as a leaping off point to say, again, tell me what's going on, and then I'll get on prices. So again, family calls me up and says, hey, how much are your prices? You know, how much do you guys cost? Well, happy to answer that. Our prices are actually a range. It's based off of schedule, needs, and location. So why don't you tell me a little bit more of what's going on, and then I'm be happy to kind of walk you through what our prices is. So from there, I'm getting everything where, you know, you've all seen the inquiry sheets as far as the right questions to ask and how to ask it and everything else, and you're getting the families and all that stuff. So now, at the end of it, we start coming up with, so now we got to get to the price. At some point, we do have to come to the price. So I'm a big believer in, I'll talk the price at the end. So the way I respond is I always give the average price in the area up front. So one of the questions I asked my clients earlier today is, and you can put this, let's just do this, we'll put this in the chat box. How about that? What price do you think families think our services cost? So put that in the chat box. How much do you think families think our prices cost? Or come off mute and answer either way. Someone's got something here. Yeah, 30, I think 30 is high, but 20. They don't know something like $20 an hour. That's what I think. So now the question is, how do I get from, because I think most families believe that we are glorified babysitters, right? That I can basically take, and I'm sure we've lost clients to the neighbor next door, the college kid, the family member. Oh, I can pay them $20 and they'll just do it and we'll just go with them, right? That's, you know, we've definitely all lost families to that. So how do I get a family from $20 up to $30 or $40 or whatever our rates are? And so another way of kind of, to give you a visual example of this is I use the hamburger example, right? So Jennifer's in the middle of my screen, so I'm going to use you as an example. So Jen, if I'm going to take you out for a burger, you have no idea if I'm going to take you out for McDonald's or Applebee's or Ruth Chris for a burger, right? So I say, hey, let's go out for a burger. I take you to McDonald's and you're like, okay. I take you to Applebee's and you're like, okay, this is kind of what I expected. If I take you to Ruth Chris, you're like, oh, shoot, is David going to pay, or are we splitting this, or what? So I take that hamburger analogy into my family discussions when we start talking about cost, right? I've got to get this family stop thinking that we are McDonald's or that we're Applebee's, and I've got to get them to Ruth Chris. So, like I said, one of the easiest ways to do that is one of the lines I use, so this goes back to the psychology of selling, is I use the line, as you know. So if I say the word, as you know, you're not going to come back and say, I don't know, I have no idea. You're going to be like, oh, yeah, of course, right? So if I say, as you know, the average price in Chicago, Illinois is $40 an hour, but since you refer to us by ABC Rehab, we're going to be able to do this for $35 an hour. Now, what does that do? That does a couple things. So one, by saying, as you know, the family's going to be like, okay, I know what the price is. Two, by saying the average price in Chicago, Illinois is $40. That family no longer needs to call around, right? They assume that they believe you, that, okay, every agency I'm going to call is going to be about $40. The third part, what I say, since you're referred to us by ABC Rehab, Now it does a couple things. One, it shows I have a relationship with the rehab that I got the referral from. So we're going to be using the same nurse, I'm going to use their care plan, or it's going to be an easy transition, right? Also, it makes the family feel like they're getting a nice little discount. Now, some of you might turn around and say, well, I don't want to be known as the discounted firm. That's not what we're talking about here. Every family would loves to feel like they're negotiating, or loves to feel like they're, getting a little bit of a deal. Nobody ever wants to pay full price for anything. Why birthday freebies work so well, right? So at the end of my conversation, so as the family goes through it and I'm starting to talk about pricing, I start to say simply, as you know, the average cost in Chicago, Illinois is about $40. However, since you were referred to us by ABC Rehab, we're going to be able to do it for $35 an hour. The next step in the process is I'm going to be sending you an agreement. So is this your correct email? And then would you like to, and then depending on how you do payment, we used to do it over the phone. And then as far as payment, we accept MasterCard or Visa. How would you like to pay? Or if your payment system's along with your contract, you just simply say whatever your next step is, right? So I'll send you an agreement. When would you like to start services? So what you're doing in this close is essentially moving the process off of the dollar figure. What you're doing is you're basically assuming the family is going to say yes, right? When we assume the family's going to say yes, that puts them in a mentality of, oh yeah, okay, yeah, I guess it's 35. All right, I'm going to get the contract. Yeah, I really want to start tomorrow. We'll start tomorrow. And the family's probably already told you when they want to get started and all the other stuff. So you're going to easily be able to say, all right, I'm going to send you the contract round. As long as you can quickly turn that around, I've got a great caregiver available that's going to start tomorrow at 8 a.m. Or I got a great caregiver that's going to be there in about 4 hours or whatever we get. So as far as, kind of handling that cost issue, that's usually my go-to.